all the things that are coming into my head are non-film related, potentially funny, but mostly me complaining. So anything that's not...
Yeah, but what's new? What's new? Potentially film related, but still you complaining. That's just like pretty much all the time.
You know what's new? How hard it is to get after export a rotoscope from After Effects into... first of all, rotoscoping, like itself, is easy, but then trying to... There's some mechanics in there, like doing it is good, but then there's like little technical mechanics of you gotta do this, you do a bunch of small chunks and then put it all together. And then I'm trying to export, and then the MOV file I exported won't even play or come register. And then so I was like, well, let me register the alpha channel. So I just gotta do all kinds of experimentation. Let's try this. Let's try. Let me click this button, that button, export, and then. So now I'm just like, forget rotoscoping. I'm just gonna do masks in Premiere, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna do.
The problem is that the one time we decided to do what we're attempting to do is basically a 7-minute long shot, maybe an 8-minute long shot.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
And it's hard to like normally on rotoscope shots you might do, you know, if we were editing like an action movie or something, you might have a 4 or a 5 second long shot to mess with, and then another 4 or 5. But what we have is a 7-minute long shot that we need to adjust the lighting in the background, but keeping the actors in the foreground looking about the same.
It's more practical to just use masks, so that's what I'm gonna do.
I guess it's the learning curve.
I thought
maybe not a learning curve. Even if you knew, I mean, because you know what you know. I mean, you're the one that does a lot of this stuff, but you know what you're doing. But we haven't ever done it on such a long shot before.
Yeah. If we had a state-of-the-art computer, I would probably stay on the rotoscope path. But it just takes forever.
Yeah.
For our older computer to do anything, and I don't have the patience, and it's been weeks for me fiddling around with it, and I just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's weird because this computer that we work off of has gotten us through several short films and a feature-length film, and still works fine, but it's not... It's a little clunky compared to the brand new versions of the software and all the stuff that the softwares can do.
4K rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Is a bit pushing it.
You know what this just means? This just leads me back to... We gotta get our film financed.
Oh.
And, you know, I like what we were talking about the other day when we were just tossing out ideas on... We've had a couple of conversations with people who have been around people who raise money and who have helped people raise money and who have raised money. And some of the ideas we've gotten from them just from talking to them have been pretty helpful, like conceptually, to help us sort of like leap forward into the next thing.
Yeah.
One of the things somebody suggested to us was treating financing like almost like a really big crowd fund that doesn't end in 30 days. You know? So comes fully like with perks and things that you get for participation and stuff like that. And instead of instead of it being $50 at a time or $100 at a time, it's for, you know, for our film it's like $2,000 at a time. It's still the mental hoops required, though, to come to terms with the fact that you're just going to have to start asking and talking to everyone you know about money. It's that's the hardest part. I mean, the hardest part is raising the $100,000 or whatever, but you know, it meant psychologically the hardest part is just getting started. It's like, ugh.
It seems to me that the hardest part is doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
because if you have a little bit of money, you could hire someone to do the stuff you're not good at or that's really hard. So just like
Yeah.
you got to do everything, so it takes longer, and then it makes even the parts that you're not good at that you hate doing even longer and harder, and because yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's whatever. You just keep doing it because you're insane. You have to be a little bit insane to be a filmmaker,
Yeah.
apparently.
Even offering things like executive producer, co-executive producer, associate producer, things like that. It's really their way of getting a credit, getting their name in the film. Other than a special thanks.
This never airs, does it? Like the video part?
Yeah, video part airs. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it goes on YouTube.
Okay.
Why?
Because I'm fidgeting and moving
Oh,
around
no,
so
it
much,
goes-
and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it because this isn't going to go. But no.
Also, so I started thinking of it like, and I talk to my students like this sometimes. It's like when you were a kid and your mom asked you to clean your room. And your room is so messy that you don't even know where to start.
Yeah. That's my head all the time.
But but as soon as you do one thing, you realize, oh, this is what I should do next. This is what I should do next.
Yeah.
And then just by doing a couple of things, you realize you've chipped away at a huge portion of it.
Well, getting started is the hardest part, and and I have to break it down into the small parts to where I just block out everything else, and all I think about is what is the thing I'm going to do right now, and then what am I going to do next? Okay, I just do that one thing. Then what comes after that? And then, because it becomes overwhelming, and then you get stun locked.
And
I do.
Well, I think everybody does. You might fall victim. You might feel like you fall victim to it more than, or quicker, or maybe more susceptible to it. But I think most people wig out a little bit at the how do you eat an 800-pound gorilla sort of concept. That's why I think for us, for our own benefit.
I think you mix things up because the 800-pound gorilla is the director.
No, isn't that the saying? How do you eat an 800-pound
I thought it
gorilla?
was a dinosaur. I've heard it.
Maybe
how
it's
do
an
you eat an
800-pound.
elephant?
Maybe it's an elephant. How do you eat an 800-pound elephant?
It doesn't matter.
It's one bite at a time. But
Yeah.
if it was an 800-pound gorilla, you would still eat it one bite at a time.
Yeah, that just reminded me. Was it the Dennis Miller show? It would say 800-pound gorilla in the credits at the top.
Oh, I don't know.
Random. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks. It's very pertinent to what we were talking about.
Well, it was just weird that you said 800-pound gorilla. It was very specific.
Is to give ourselves little goals. Like the first goal we should set for ourselves is something like raise $5,000. Because $5,000 is way easier to accomplish in reality and in your mind. It's not $90,000 staring at you.
Right.
It's $5,000. And if you think about it, I started thinking about it. So I guess we're going to talk about this a little bit. For our budget, we tried to give ourselves $100,000 or less. So we're trying to raise $90,000. And that $90,000 will get us a couple of, handful of SAG actors, DP, good camera, a couple of crew people to help us. But we're really spending a ton, like a good portion of our budget in post-production and in marketing and distribution and stuff at the end. Because in the past, what we've done is we've gotten all the way to the finish line of completing the film, but had nothing left in the tank to get the word out about the film, right?
Yeah.
So the way it all works, we've had Scott DuPont on our show recently, and we've been doing some studying on how to raise money and how that all works. So you're talking about points, right? So for any movie, you have 100 points. The filmmakers try to keep, they default to keeping half, like 50 points out of the 100. That means your investors get the other 50 points, thereabouts, but they have to throw in money. Like it's almost like 2 points for the 1 point for the price of two. So for a $90,000 movie, we're selling points for like $1,800. 1 point for $1,800. That means, doing the math here, I did some the other day. 1,800 times 3 is $5,400. That means we just have to sell 3 points of our movie to get to the $5,000 mark. That means 3 people. If we only get 1,800 at a time, but we just need to convince 3 people. Not convince. Talk to 3 people, as Scott DuPont would say. Allow 3 people to participate in our movie. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be easier if we had like I don't know. I don't sort of like I can't think of a better way of saying it. Not really a pamphlet, but like a card and a thing or a presentation of here's a picture of the movie or something, a poster or something.
You mean like a business plan? Because we're working on that too.
But no, like when we're talking to someone, like here's what this looks like, or maybe we have it on our phone.
A pitch deck.
Is that what it is?
It sounds like what you're talking about is a pitch deck.
So you have something for them to look at, maybe a synopsis. I guess nowadays, I was thinking of holding things, but nowadays you just have it on your phone and send it to them. I guess we could make an email that has all that stuff in it. Here's a sort of picture to put you in the mood, I guess, and here's the tagline and whatever, and maybe we're gonna make an audio script.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. So that was something else. Something else that someone suggested through our conversations with various people is they said that one of the things they did to raise money is people don't like to give investors the script because they either don't read the script or it doesn't really translate in their mind what script is something that you and I read and we can use our imagination, but somebody who's a money person who's never really read a script before doesn't know how to dissect it to imagine the script as they read it. So somebody suggested doing almost like an audio drama version of the screenplay where you would just read the screenplay with some actors and then maybe drop in some music and some sound effects to create the mood that you know the scenes will have as they're reading. And then they don't even have to read the script, and then you don't even have to wait for them to like find some time to sit down and read a script. They can listen while they're in their car, while they're out on a run or something like that. And you've produced something that at least sounds like the movie you want to make. Yeah.
I just got a visual in my head that something we could put together. Like I want to pay a professional to do they have a technical word for it, but like a poster for it. But we could make, unless we get someone else, I'm going to be the bad guy, but that you don't really see, right? I think.
Yeah.
Sort of. Like
what do you mean don't really see?
Well, you see him at
your
the
face
end.
is the first. Your face is the first thing.
Yeah,
people
but you're
see.
not going to see my whole. It's going to be, what do you call it? Ethereal. You won't really be able to see it.
You can't tell if it's a dream.
Right.
In the beginning.
You'll see eyes and a mouth and stuff, but you won't say, hey, that's a bearded dwarf man. I'm not a dwarf, but people, they just see someone smaller than them. Oh, that's a midget.
Do you remember a few minutes ago when you asked me, this doesn't air right because I'm sitting here fidgeting, but you're leaning back, you're drifting, you're out of focus, you're like lounging.
It takes so much effort for me to behave that just my brain shuts down. So I'm just like, here I am. But yeah, like so, I guess a woman in a small, like maybe she's what do you call it? I don't know, kneeling or in a meditative pose or something. I don't know. And like eyes. We could like I just want to see eyes in the toothy grin, like way more teeth
Than reality.
Yeah. And maybe they could be like little lamps that are in the shape of teeth. So it looks like she's surrounded by lamps. And then there's some eyes there, and it looks like a toothy grin or something. But anyway, it could be easy to just mess up my face and put a woman like there, and then I'm like, like that.
It's so weird because that's...
But it won't really be my eyes. It'll be like glowy eyes or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, that could be easy. We could easily do some glowy eyes that does, make it look creepy, right? And
Yeah. Well, for
like
the people listening, we're making a horror movie. We're pitching a horror movie.
So almost like
But we're trying to avoid talking about plot
like
details.
the woman's small enough to where it look and the face takes up the whole thing, and it looks like he's gonna eat her. I don't know, but so I'm just saying we could easily, that could maybe take a day or two of us messing around in Photoshop, maybe a week of us throwing it around, and we could put it into a package that when we find somebody we think, here's our package. I think that's easier. It's easier for me to do that than to just try and talk it all out and try to remember everything and remember the whole pitch when I'm talking to somebody.
Well, it's that's definitely something that would go on the cover of a business plan, because a business plan has a cover sheet that is like an image that is hints toward the and it can very easily be like a poster type of thing, and then
I think anything that could help them draw their imagination into that world and help them imagine it in their head. Because I think the trick of selling something to someone is where you convince them that it was their idea, sort of.
Yeah.
It's far more impactful rather than you telling or just throwing something at them than for them to create it in their head, because then it sticks with them.
Yeah.
So if we can have some of these visuals and things that help them to create a world in their head, the easier it is to want them to stay in that world and give you money. That's just the thought I'm thinking. Well, anyways, I'm brainstorming while we're doing this thing. It's just like a little mini meeting of, hey, we could do this or we could do that.
I was thinking that one of the things we could sell as a perk, and not sell as a perk, it might be a legit thing. If somebody puts in a significant amount of money into your thing, they definitely are like the executive producer or the co-executive producer. But I was thinking, I think I figured it out the other day. I haven't written this down or run any of the numbers yet, so it's not. We're talking more like round numbers off the top of our head here, but maybe like the $10,000 at 25,000 or higher. I mean, we're only trying to raise 90,000 only trying to raise $90,000. So it's not like, for people who give us 25,000 we'd have our whole film financed. But $25,000 or higher, they get like an executive producer. At the $15,000 mark, or at the $10,000 mark, they're like a co-executive producer. At the $5,000 mark, it's like executive producer.
But also, they would get everything, all the stuff that we're offering to everyone under that. They would get all of it, like free copy of the movie, free digital copies.
I don't, at this point, I don't even think I hadn't even considered, do we give them free copies of the movies, because somebody gives me $25,000, they can sit in the room and watch me edit if they want to. You know what I mean? Even though you don't really want that, because people who put in money don't. First of all, you can invite them in. Do you remember when we invited my sister on set a long, long time ago? She stood around for 45 minutes and watched us adjust a light and said, "This is boring. I'm leaving." We, I think, are better at moving faster now than we were when we were making that movie playback. But I realized that, nobody thinks it's as cool as we do. unless they're a filmmaker. My sister was like, she literally seemed so disappointed. She's like, this is boring. I'm like, it's only boring if you're not doing it. Because if you're doing it, it's fun. Because it's fun trying to figure out how to get that light exactly where you want it. Not like, woohoo, that was the most fun I've ever had, but it's fun solving the problem. Solving the problem is fun. So I think we should just look at it like that. This is a problem we have to solve. It's like adjusting that light. You know what I mean? But the part I wanted to talk to you about was if they give like $25,000 or more, executive producer, but something like if they got $50,000, because some people do that. Some people get that in movies. Somebody swoops in and goes, I have $50,000. I love the idea for your movie. Let me help. And you're just like, okay. But they could do like a presents, like a Michael Beckmeyer presents.
Right.
Blah, blah, the name of the movie, which we haven't announced yet.
Yeah. I mean, big chunk of money like that, we'll feature a product or something or whatever they have to sell, like a .com or something. Like, I'm always on their website. It's great.
the bad guy is sitting there doing his toothy grin, but he's like, great website.
I love their products.
On
to killing.
Do you remember State and Maine? That movie State and Maine?
State.
Do you remember Bazoomer.com? They were trying to get into the movie, but it was a movie set in the Old West.
Yeah.
So they had to figure out how to do a product placement for Bazoomer.com. And they came up with Bazoomer.com, a sign that was hanging at the top.
Right. That's the one with the barn. And is Alec Baldwin, and they flip over in the car.
Right, well, that happened.
Oh, well, that happened, yeah.
Yeah, David
crawls out of an upside-down car. Well, that happened, yeah. Well, if you haven't seen State and Maine, go watch it right now.
It is probably one of my favorite movies. It is one of my favorite movies about making a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Probably my favorite movie about making movies is Bowfinger. Because that's the most...
It's hilarious.
Like, that's the most... like movie making experience that I've had, because it's like a bunch of doofuses trying to shoot a movie, making their actor run across the street. Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be okay. However, if that actually happened in real life and somebody got hurt, the director goes to jail.
Right.
Do you remember that story about the guy who they were shooting a film on railroad tracks? I can't remember the name.
Yeah. That's so. Yeah, I like every step of the way. I'm like, I don't know.
You can hear the director, you can hear the filmmakers going, "We'll be okay."
Yeah,
and then not.
Yeah, they're supposed to have someone watching at each end, whatever. For some reason, they couldn't get the schedule nailed down.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get permission, so they're trying to steal the shot. And so they're setting up equipment on a railroad track, and they thought that they could just send one person to keep a lookout and that they could, let everyone know in time. But, next thing you know, the train's coming, and they didn't know until the last second, and they didn't have enough time to get all the equipment and everyone off. I mean, first of all, everyone was worried about equipment and whatever. Somebody died because they were rushing and didn't want to be careful and wasn't worried about it. But you can't, that whole story is so unbelievable to me every step of the way. Like, it's more than just the hindsight is 20/20 because you're what you're watching. To me, it's like all the decisions every step of the way. I'm like, how are you doing? And this was a well-known, director. He had directed things we've seen and known, and then so you're thinking, how are you?
It's the arrogance of directors, man. Directors do think they can pull everything off and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, there was a big named actor, and it seemed like it was just for an extra scene that he thought it would be so cool to have this scene. Yeah, it was like ego narcissist, and he couldn't get the right permissions. So, anyways, that's ridiculous.
And it's also, like, the first thing you hear is, like, they couldn't get out of the way of a train. Trains move so slow. But you don't know what kind of train it was, because an
Yeah.
Amtrak train comes flying through it, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. Like, not like regular trains going through a small town when you
Right,
see them.
you feel like
When you see
it's
them passing, like, under a traffic light and stuff, they slow down for that. But when they're out in the wide open...
They were on a bridge, so
Yeah.
they didn't have options. They didn't have enough
Oh,
time.
shit, they were on a bridge.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that part.
So they didn't have enough time to run to safety.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
Which is even more crazy. Anyway, I don't know what that documentary is called, but you could probably Google.
Oh, there's a documentary on it?
Oh, yeah, you didn't see that?
I haven't seen the documentary.
Oh, yeah, there's a little mini documentary, and they had everyone, people. Yeah, and they even showed the scene, the shots that they did get, and what he was trying to do, and everyone was talking, except the director.
Yeah.
They had the surviving actors and stuff.
Surviving actors.
Yeah, literally survived.
Literally survived.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's the lesson of today's show. Don't risk anyone's life
Yeah.
for a shot.
Yeah, no great shot is worth.
If you can't do it safely, do it right.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in Corona times.
Yeah.
Don't risk people's lives. Be safe. Do it safely. Anyway, seems like common sense.
Seems
but
like common sense.
as we have bore witness
Yeah.
the past few years. Apparently the world is filled with people that have no common sense.
Well, I mean, that's what we need is we need to sell 3 points of our movie to get us. I would feel like we got somewhere if we'd sold. Well, I'd feel if we got somewhere if we sold 1 point of our film. But you know what I mean. We need like
Yeah.
3 points.
I like the idea where we throw away the rest of the money in our minds. And
Yeah.
let's just sell the one thing. Or let's just get to
Yeah.
the 5,000 and then we'll...
And we know that because you're supposed to open an escrow account and you put them, somebody gives you an $1,800 check or a $5,000 check, you put it in there and you can't, once you put it in there, you can't touch it until the agreed upon amount. Like you might say, well, we're trying to raise 90, so we know that we can produce our film for $65,000 or $70,000 and the rest of it is, after post and stuff like that we need, but we don't need it to shoot and edit the film. So we could say, okay, once we get to $65,000 or $60,000 in escrow, we can pull money out and start producing the film. Once we hit
We
escrow,
could start all the pre-production
all the
stuff.
pre-production stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that it's just like it's like piggy bank money, like dropping money in the piggy bank.
Yeah.
1,800. Have you ever done that? You've gone through and you dropped money in a piggy bank until it fills up. I used to do that with my daughter, where we'd put all our change, just pennies, quarters, nickels at a time,
Yeah.
in the thing, and then once it filled up, we'd cash it in, and then we'd go do something with that money, like a fun, and it was always $200 or something in this little piggy bank, and it doesn't look like that when you're sitting there like this, but you just throw it away and you don't think about it until it fills up, and then next thing you know, you've got a fun weekend of, it's just for us. It's talking about $90,000 instead of a trip to Disney or something.
Yeah. I don't know about a trip to Disney. $200 would pay for like one person.
We would go bowling.
One day,
We'd
maybe, or 2 days.
We'd go bowling, or we'd go shopping, or go have dinner someplace, and go play putt-putt or something.
Maybe 2 people could do one park in one day.
No, because dude, it's like I think it's over $90 just to get in, and you have to pay. Check this out. You have to pay like $25 just to park.
Yep, that's when I stopped going to Universal back when I had a car. When they're charging me, like, I just want to go see a movie in your movie theater, Universal, and you're gonna charge me to also park.
Yeah.
I'm not going to your movie theater.
Isn't it crazy
anymore.
that like I don't understand and I ask this, I'm like, okay, so we live in Orlando, so we're around all the theme parks. And so to go to Disney, you have to pay $25 to park, and then you pay $90 a person to get in. Sometimes it's more than that. I think it's around $90 a person now.
And the food and drinks like
Food and
$10
drinks, like
a piece.
just to get a
whatever
drink
it
is like $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you've spent hundreds of dollars a day. I just don't understand why Disney, who has a captive audience, you're going to Disney. Why do they have to charge $25 for you to park? They, you know what I mean? And people, I talk to people, I'm like, because they know you'll spend it. I'm like, yeah, but why would they? The audacity.
I think
You know what I mean? The audacity to charge $25 to get people just to
I
park.
think they know that the odds of those, it's going to be a long time before those people come back, and sometimes the odds are they might not come back. They're probably next time they'll go to another theme park because there's a lot of choices.
Yeah, but pay to
so
park.
they're like, let's get everything we can when they're here.
You could almost you could get away with charging more for a ticket for people to get in.
Right.
But I don't
Yeah,
don't
why-
understand charging to
Why
park.
not put that in the? That is weird. Why is that a
It's
separate
weird.
thing?
Why do you have to pay to park to go to
They
Disney?
could just put that in the ticket. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's only $25 to park for the whole day. So the fuck what? It's Disney. You're spending hundreds of dollars to take 4 or 5 people there. It's like if you have a family of 4, it's like it's $500 just to get into the park because there's four or 5 people. You know what I mean? It's insane. I haven't been to Disney since my daughter was 2. She's just turned 18.
Oh, we got on that because of the penny pinching and
Yeah,
saving
penny pinching,
and
saving,
then
yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, you had to poo-poo my trip to Disney analogy, which I wasn't really using Disney as an analogy. I said
Oh.
it, but I didn't really mean Disney. I meant, just like a fun weekend,
Yeah.
But anyway, we promise when we raise money for our movie, we won't go to Disney with it. Making a movie is like going to Disney for us.
Yes.
Like Spielberg says, he dreams for a living. Yes, that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. I have more fun working my butt off with barely any breaks and hardly any food on a movie
You
set
make
all
it
day.
sound like we're running a regime.
Well-
with no breaks and no food. It's more fun to do that.
I will say, working with you when you start, you don't stop. And then anybody that needs a break, you like, okay, but we have this other scene to make. Don't make it long. It's like,
Well, I need a...
give me a break.
I
I
have-
can't keep up with you.
I have to be my own AD. Otherwise, I'll just sit there and work on the same scene all the time. But look, just to clarify publicly, when we made our feature film, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner on nights where we were working late. But it was always mostly just breakfast and lunch or lunch and dinner. And we always took breaks every couple of hours. We had things that we had to do before we could take a break. We had to get this done before we moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then now, in between those things would be a perfect time to take lunch. So it's not like it's not like I'm the dad that gets in the car and wants to drive straight through without any bathroom breaks.
Yeah, you better pee before we go.
Yeah. But
Better eat before we start the day because you ain't getting nothing.
but I definitely don't want to stop because I'm producer-wise or director-wise worried about making the day. Because I know that we have to shoot 15 fucking pages today, and I don't have time for lunch. I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep thinking about it.
You have developed your way of being to where you can like go without eating all day and maybe take 20 minutes and eat something and then keep going the rest of the day.
I did just come off of a 36-hour fast. That was interesting. But I did the math. If we have a 15-day production, okay, which is luxurious for a $90,000 movie. Normally you're shooting like 12 days. Okay? So, in fact, if we need to shave some off of our budget so that we can make $90,000 our budget, we lose a couple days. Mm-hmm. But that's like 5.5 pages a day. Our script is 90 pages. That's like 5.5 pages a day. Never not shooting 15 pages a day. Check that out. We made a comedy that was very wordy, that had 115 pages, and we shot that in 9 days. That's why we had 15 pages a day to shoot. Well, who let me do that? You want to act like I was like on edge. I'm like, we're not gonna accomplish this ridiculous shit if we don't work through lunch.
Yeah. I was referring to the last thing we shot, where I.
Oh, where you were directing, but you took a break in between every shot.
But I felt like, oh man, I can't let him know that I need to take 15 minutes to take care of something, because he's gonna yell at me.
Well, we just said that we were gonna try to get it shot. I think we got that whole thing shot in 2 days or 3 days.
2 days.
I think we did it in 2 days. I think it was 2.5 days. But we made a whole like 8-page short film with two people, or 1.5 people, as I like to say. But I don't know if it bothers you when I say that or not.
I have no emotional response to that.
Anyway, if anyone's listening and you have an extra $100,000, you know where you know our email.
Speaking of that, I feel like we're close to the end of this. The Discord thing. We don't want to do the hashtag thing anymore. We're gonna make a link that everyone can go to.
But isn't that why is okay?
Where I'm gonna create. So I had to create all the community stuff, and then now I need to make a welcome page with the link. So and we could just put that everywhere on the YouTube, and just I think even in the description of the podcast, just everywhere. We just have the Discord link, and when they click on it, it's the welcome page and accept invite button, and then it takes them there to the.
But why is it so complicated? Like, if I want to tell someone to follow me on Twitter, it's
really
at Beckemeyer.
I still get in there wanting to do one thing and go to one place, and it takes me 10 minutes because I think, does this button take me there? No, that's over there. Was this? But it's like
it should like I just said. If I want to tell somebody to follow me on Twitter, it's at Beckemeyer. There's not.
That's easy.
There's not this hashtag, this number, but it's complicated to do that. So now you have to go to our website and click a link that'll take you to the. Why?
What I found out is that hashtag thing is if you're inviting a friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas
these people are our friends. If they're listening to this podcast, I'm very willing to be friends with them.
It's different though. Like a friend, you're like, hey, here's all the privileges, and let's go. You know everything, and I trust you. But with random people that we want to come, we need them to go through a process.
Yeah.
We don't want anyway. So yeah, that's how we're gonna do it from now on.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll get the link. Maybe I'll do that tonight, maybe, or tomorrow. I'll get the link.
Well, now that you've said it, now you have to do it, because I wasn't even thinking about it. Now that you've said you're going to do it tomorrow, if you don't do it, I'm going to be like,
by the
why
time
didn't you get that thing? By the
time
that's 4 days from now. You're talking about tonight or tomorrow.
I don't know if you need to do the link on the video, but I figured just in the description, wherever you're getting this, it's in the description.
Yeah, or on I guess we'll have a thing on our website too. Because we have a contact page on our website, which is smuentertainment.com. I realized we don't really outro this thing. We just stop talking and it just goes. We don't give any of our information.
Yeah.
Because it really, I think we forget we're doing a show. This is a conversation that we would have sitting at, the taco place,
And honestly, that's what you wanted, like, all along when we did Film Forever. You're like, why does it have to be a thing? Why can't we just talk?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, now we're doing it.
I think what we're talking about is interesting to other filmmakers. I don't know. I might be wrong. Or at least pertinent to other filmmakers.
The stuff that I hear other people listening to that's popular...
It's not like we're sitting here. It's not like we're sitting here describing our how we're playing Minecraft or anything. I don't get that.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyway, well, that's just, I mean, we talked about these maybe being like accountability episodes, like what we're working on.
I mean, that's what we end up talking
That's what we
about
end up talking
anyway.
about. So that's what we're working on. If you have any advice or any thoughts, or if you've raised money for a movie and you just happen to be listening to us talk about how to do it
Or-
for some random reason, maybe we should listen to your podcast. But
If you have any long form rotoscoping
yeah,
advice,
yeah,
because I gave up on it.
yeah. It was taking, what was it going to take, like 2 days to render? And then you have to go in and tweak it.
Yeah. I finally decided that I would just do like these 3 parts where that was the main, where
Yeah.
things were happening in the background, and then
Yeah.
the rest of it, people weren't moving that much, so I could just kind of do a mask around them.
Yeah.
So, but even then, it's like, you know what? I think I'm wasting my time. So, I don't know. It would be nice if you could just, because the rotoscoping, you just draw and then it does it. You know,
Yeah.
real easy. I wish you could just go, okay, now for the whole rest of the thing, just work that out, and I'll leave you alone for a couple days. And then
Yeah.
you come back and fix a couple things. But that's not how it works. That's how I envisioned it. But that's not how it works. So, anyway, if you want to rotoscope for free, no, never mind. Forget that. Although we do, if anyone's listening, we need, we could use a VFX supervisor.
Yeah, we could use a VFS supervisor. We got to hit somebody with a car.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a fleshy glob of arms and hands
Oh, yeah.
groping a
Which
woman.
Yeah. Which we're not sure. I guess we want to try to do practically, like old school filmmaking
Right.
style, not necessarily CGI, but
CGI would look better, but at the same time, we can just record
yeah.
several sets of arms, and then that is actually, we're gonna have to rotoscope that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but we'll have a controlled environment when doing that.
Right.
Not.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we could use some help. We got ideas on how we're gonna
Yeah.
do it, but we need a VFX supervisor. So, recommendations, please.
Yeah.
Cheap indie.
Indie recommendations.
It's
Yeah.
a super low budget.
All right. Well, that's it. Hey, I'm Becca Meyer. You can get me on Twitter, Instagram.
I'm Balding Ewok, and I'm not on anything.
Balding Ewok.
I have accounts, but I'm never on them. So go.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And that's Emma grumbling in the background.
Is it over yet?
All right. That's it for this time. We'll see you next week on Film Reverie.
Fridays. Is that what it
Fridays.
is? Yeah. That's the way it goes.
Cut. Film Reverie Podcast is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you're enjoying this podcast, please be sure to leave us a 5-star review in iTunes and be sure to click like or subscribe wherever you find us. That's it for this time. We'll see you again next week with another episode of Film Reverie.